There it is. Alright, so... Hi, I am Darksol188, your resident beam queen, here to deliver memes, beams, and dreams. While I start this run, let me give you... alright. Before we actually start. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Now, while I'm running through this section, let me give a brief history of this category. It all started when another Kirby runner, Sniper, brought up this as a bit of a joke, and mentioned how much it would suck to actually run through the game with this ability. Well, he's not entirely wrong. It's not the best. Actually, want to make it, it's absolutely the best. See, in fact, one of the Kirbys already know what's up. They got one now. Anyways, Beam has a very good arc. It has pretty good aim. And it will hit enemies multiple times, so it does okay damage. Kind of. Or we're going to have to make that bubble respawn. Not when that... Okay, you know what? There we go. That's never happened before. We did it. We said the funny thing. Okay, back to attempts at a history lesson. Anyways, after he's mentioned that, I decided to play boss endurance with Beam. It is every bit as rough as you think it is. Beam does not do a lot of damage. Fighting the bosses requires kind of actually knowing how the bosses work, or otherwise you just take a lot of damage and probably die. This is really apparent at the end, where we have Dark Mind, the final boss of Amazing Mirror. This thing has 6 phases, 4 of which aren't too bad, and then 1 that's really bad. I'll talk more about that later. To make the story a little bit shorter, Calithon decided to ask about meme runs. I brought this up, and well, they apparently liked it, and so Beam Percent was born. If all goes well, this will actually be a pretty okay run. If it doesn't, you will know it because I will probably be having to replay segments. As you can see, Beam is effective. Most bosses don't like it. Okay, most mini-bosses don't like it. Most enemies absolutely hate it because, well, observe. Yeah, that did 5 hits. Enemies do not stand up to Beam. Or anything, really. Unless your name is Heavy Knight, which, as you will also see, likes to hit you. Okay, I was actually expecting to dodge that, and it did in fact hit me. Perfect. Thanks for actually giving me the tutorial I wanted. For now, though, we're just going to keep racing through here. Not too much to worry about. We're invincible, the enemies can't hurt us, and even if they could, we have a beam. Don't need to worry about you. We're going to need to switch for a couple of important reasons. One, we need this to actually really go anywhere later after this segment. The other reason that'll become apparent is there is a beam copy essence in that room. And that is where that's where we'll go anytime we need beam, pretty much. Also, this is Team Golem. It's Team Golem. There's really nothing to say. Wow, I thought it would kill it fast enough to not get hit. Never mind. So, there's our first shard. Team Golem has sent its regards. And now for the fun part. First of all, there's our essence. If we need beam, we go there. Second, and this is actually a recent route change, but we're gonna go for Krakow now. There is an important reason. See, you see these silver blocks? You need an ability that's not beam to hit those. We can't do that. So, we kind of need the crew to, do something important, which is, get this enemy, install a flamer. We need yellow to not shoot it, though. Okay, we're gonna have to reset the room. Okay, good. Red got it. Now we just need red to come up here and hit these blocks for us. This may take anywhere from like... okay. I was expecting much worse. You see, sometimes they can be really quick about hitting that, and I didn't just go right on ahead. Times, if you haven't noticed, Kirby has a cell phone, and calling crew requires batteries. I have run out of battery trying to do this. It is every bit as frustrated as you think it is. Watching the HM just kind of float up next to you, look at the block funny, and then just drop back down. All while you're just kind of sitting there wishing that beam could, you know, have the force of a hammer. Not that we need it, but we're gonna grab it anyways. Why not? Always good to keep your battery topped off. We'll just jump over that, go through the door. Everything from here is pretty straightforward. We're just gonna be running through it, and lots of bunny hops. Because the titanium gravity is weird, and bunny hops are actually faster than just running. So doing this is a little bit more speed. And we got candy, so that's gonna make things a little bit easier. To see, we're gonna have a mini boss to deal with called Batfire. It's a giant bat made of fire. This is Batfire. That was Batfire. And now we're just gonna keep going. If we didn't get candy, we would have had to fight that normally, and it's not too bad. If you stay on the center platform, it's a safe fight. Also, this is Fracto. Fracto really hates Kirby, and will do anything to stop me. We're just gonna keep jumping up and hitting it with beam. This is probably one of the harder fights for Fracto in the entire series. Because on the one hand, Fracto is not that rough, but Fracto has an attack that some of us have dubbed the Rotato. And that one's a little more erratic and harder to dodge. And it's actually at about the health threshold it's going to start doing that. Also, Fracto is decided to rain on my parade a lot. Oh, there's the Rotato. Speaking of raining on my parade, there's more rain. Okay, Fracto has never done quite that pattern before. Thankfully, Fracto is gone. We don't have to worry about Fracto anymore. It can't hurt us. Oh yes, I should have, yeah, Mr. Flosty. Yeah, talk about blinking you'll miss it, bosses. Okay, now let's actually go the way that we normally would. This is going to be a bit of a long trek. We're going to be making our way to Radish Ruins, and probably the other kind of... I don't want to say problematic, but it's not a fun part of the run. Because the boss at the end of Radish Ruins normally would rather us fight with a sword. We are, as you can tell, not going to fight with a sword. And if we die to that boss, there is no way to get beam. So we have to go back to the hub and traverse half of the segment just to get back to the fight and try again. Oh, and any items that you grab don't respawn until you have, quote-unquote, completed a stage. Which is, you have defeated one of the bosses, or you have found a Goldane. Ideally, we never see those. Also, we need to hit some switches on the way, so you're going to see a couple of moments of that. We'll just hit those. Drop down here. And we're going to take a quick swim. Mind the flippers. Mind a Heavy Knight, who will probably hit us. Never mind, Heavy Knight was nice. Actually, why am I doing this? I have Beam. Okay, that was a little bit not... That's the problem. Okay, so we lost Beam. So here's what I'm gonna do. There's another switch coming up. I'm just gonna go to it, and then we'll go back, get Beam, and resume what we were doing. No problem. Except for the part where I am going to eat a Gordo. Okay. There's our switch. And we'll just take a quick trip back to the hub. And there we go, problem solved. If I wanted to, I could have just kept running. This next room will have Waddle Doos, and I can get Beam that way. But I'd like to have this in as many rooms as I can. I mean, it's not Beam percent if we don't have Beam. Lament that we cannot get that one up, because it... Yeah, things can happen. Safety is nice. Lament that we cannot hit this enemy with Beam because it just stared easy. Now, just in case anything bad happens, because in this round it's bound to, we're gonna hit that switch for safety. If we die, just in case, we can start from that segment. Unfortunately, it means going back through this in every room that I'm about to go through now. Which will include a potentially familiar mini-boss. I don't know how many of you have heard of a slightly obscure little game called Super Smash Bros. But they decided to give it a cameo in this game. And, okay. Gonna be honest, Master usually grabs me. But usually he turns Kirby into a stress ball, and that's a rarity to have it not do that. I'm not going to complain. That was a smooth fight, and I don't have to worry about it now. For now. It'll come back later. Trust me. But for now, we're safe. We don't have to worry about too much. Just keep flying. Just keep calm. Hit that bomber so it doesn't explode. And now we're in this weird little field. Not sure what it is. Not sure what's about it. All I know is it's probably not pleasant, and it's a little disconcerting. Also, shoutouts to the game trolling me where, oh, here's a Waddle Doo in the room right before your fight, but not in the actual room before your fight. These are not Beam. So this is why this is a scary fight. Anyways, this is Meta Knight, we think. Meta Knight to be very aggressive. but also does not have a lot of health. So if we're aggressive with our beams... we'll have it. And there we go. I have definitely had much rougher fights in that particular area. I have actually game overed in that fight. It is not pleasant, especially when you lose like 10 minutes for just because you died in that room. So we're taking a little detour this way. Don't trust Chip. Chip is terrible. Chip will ruin your day. It'll take your beam. It'll put water in your cereal. Just don't trust Chip. It's not it's mean. It's mean and we don't like Chip. We also don't like Bonkers. Alright, let's jump behind you so I can do that. Good. Replacement essence if we ever need it, if we die. We're at full health, so we shouldn't. So, we're gonna play Whack-A-Mole. With a beam. Molly is kind of a longish fight. And also likes throwing stuff at us. Throwing stuff at us isn't fun. As you can see, we're just gonna stay down here. It can't hit us from up there. And watches the game last to complete oblivion. And there we go. We beat up Molly and got that dang 4th mirror shard. No, you do not want to know how long I've been saving that. Roughly a half hour. So you'll remember this path. We're going to take the alternate route. Let's get rid of those 2 enemies. Mind Heavy Knight, because Heavy Knight is mean. Mind Heavy Knight, because Heavy Knight is mean. So, while I'm making my way to the next boss, let me bring up other properties of Beam in this game. Beam is counted as electrical damage. This may not sound terribly important, but believe me, it's going to be important very soon. In fact, in pretty much any game that Beam has actually been treated as an element, it has been treated as an electrical attack. It's just that most of the Kirby games before, like, modern stuff has never really tackled this subject. This game did. And I could be doing this a lot faster. What am I doing? Mind a wheelie. We're gonna hit a couple more switches since we need more of those. Unfortunately, much as I would like to... Okay, I need a door. You know, let's fire the beam, because why not? It's fun to fire. We gave Kirby freaking beams. Might as well. Okay, right. I'm about to go through the wrong door. So this is Carrot Castle. I am not sure if it's edible. It might be, but we're not about to find out, because that's a really big castle, and I don't think Kirby has a stomach big enough to actually do that. Also, we are afraid of losing Beam to this room, because there are a lot of spikes, and spikes hurt. Spikes also mean your ability just explodes if it hits them. And we've already seen what happens when that occurs. It's not fun, and in fact it's quite sad times. Because then you don't have beam anymore. Actually, can I backtrack? I cannot. Alright, in that case. Luckily, we don't have to backtrack much. Although I really don't want to die. So, actually, you know what? Better idea. Let's take the death so we don't run into that problem. Okay, we got beam back. We still don't trust... We don't trust Chip, and we don't trust other Waddle Dudes because for some reason they don't like that we use beam. Also, there is no other way to get beam except for that room. So once you leave that room, there is no going back. Kirby and the Amazing Earthquake. So I decided to look at chat for a second. That's an interesting one. What would that even be? I can tell you what it isn't. Kirby and the Amazing Beam. Or alternately, Kirby and the Amazing Beam. Oh, the screen. Oh, you're talking about the screen shake. Okay, that makes more sense. So, it took a little longer than we liked, but this is Memeathon. Remember how I said Beam is electrical? So are these walls, and Memeathon is weak to electricity. You don't even have to hit them into the walls, you just zap it with Beam. In fact, Beam is probably one of the best abilities to use against it for that exact reason. So, we're just gonna let Kirby have a little dance. You know what? He's happy about it. And what if I said that's not the only easy boss to deal with? Because we've done that, now we're gonna make our way to the water. I hear there's this shark that we need to deal with. And, surprise, it also doesn't like Beam a whole lot. But not because of any sort of weakness, and Memeathon's the only one I know of that has that kind of trait. That bottle do meant it was saying. That's fine. We're just gonna keep going down our own way. Hit out the plunk. We still have memories of certain things within the Kirby community. Just in case we're gonna hit this switch, because, again, things can happen, such as losing your ability underwater. Because much as I wish there was a version that you could, Beam is not usable underwater. The upside in this game is, if you lose an ability, it'll just float to the top of the water. That doesn't entirely help in, say, the top of the water is also the ceiling. So if that happens, your sword explodes and that's it, it's gone. So, Olive Ocean is not the greatest of places. In fact, you can lose Beam really easily. And we're gonna have to go kind of for a little bit without it, so to speak. Luckily, Kirby's Spit and Mortar's effect is very effective. And there's at least some land segments. Like this one against Boxy. And that was Boxy. Also, fighting that, you might have noticed, Boxy don't inside of Kirby a little bit before actually counting as a hit. That is because when an enemy is taking damage, it actually cannot do contact damage for Kirby. This is also something that will show up soon because our next boss is a pretty good way to demonstrate. Unfortunately, we're going to go the long way for that. We can't do Titan's skip methods with like sword, fire, UFO, and stuff. We're gonna have to just kind of go through this way. Beam does not have quite the reach you think it would. I know it's sad. It's the one downfall of this ability. I mean, it has great damage, great reach, but it doesn't have the greatest reach. Don't let that stop you from using Beam. There's a lot of things to love about it. Like you did a neat little hat. You did a neat little wand. You did beam noises. And if you're playing the Japanese version of some of the Kirby games, you did the little ability description go in like actually a better way to put this. The description for Beam in this game, and for that matter for Nightmare in Dreamland, pretty much have Beam it at the end. The Japanese versions actually don't have that. They just pretty much have Beam at the end of the sentences. And I forget which one. I don't know if it's this game. But one of them actually just kind of goes over the top with it. And this one is just kind of the logical conclusion of that. We're going to deal with these enemies because we're scared and we don't want to lose Beam. Beam is very easily lost in the water here. And now we're good. We're no longer in danger of losing Beam. And the shark is in danger of not liking us. Say hello to Gobbler. Gobbler does not have a lot of health. And if we hit Gobbler in the right timing, it can't hurt us. If we don't, it will still manage to hit us on the way through. See, Beam is strong. And besides, who wouldn't want to go on a quick beam fishing trip and actually reel in the big one? So, we're gonna go back here. This says Terra Castle, this is not Terra Castle. Welcome to the resident ice area of Memeathon. And more enemies that we can't trust because Chip is mean. So first off, we got a couple of switches ahead. These were the last two we're ever gonna actually need to hit. Anything else is pretty much irrelevant. For now though, we're just gonna make our way up this lovely ice palace. Apparently made of peppermint. And hope we don't get beamed ourselves as we try to beam everyone in our way. By the way, I imagine some of you might be disappointed that Mr. Flossie was such a short-lived moment earlier. So, how about I rectify that? Here's Mr. Flossie, and we don't have a double star to use against it. Not that we need it. Beam is powerful. And there's more beams. More beams. More jumping. Weird frying pan. Extra bomber explosion because we totally wanted it. Don't worry about it. Also, there's a switch. We don't need it. Surprisingly, beam is a really plentiful ability in this area of the game. So we're never really in any danger of losing it if we do, because, well, there's probably a Waddle Doo like 3 steps away, and we'll just get it anyways. Made our way through this little maze. Mind all of the enemies, because there's several, and also mind the Waddle Doo, because Waddle Doo does not like that we use beam. Mind Sword Knight, because Sword Knight is also not our friend. Sparky kind of is. And there's Heavy Knight. And his friend Heavy Knight. And we're gone. Welcome to the Beam Room. You might be wondering why it's called the Beam Room. That's why it's called the Beam Room, because you will get beamed repeatedly as you try to get through. And we almost died. Luckily, there's the tomato. Also, I hope you enjoyed Master Hand, because he's back, and so is the grabs. And so are the finger guns. We're fine. Master Hand is just it's under a lot of stress and really needs to squeeze the stress ball. And while we're having to oblige, eventually it's gonna hurt. We did that extra life because things that happen. Such as this room. This room sucks. The game is really adamant that you should be using wheel to get through here. But again, that's not... Beam is not... wheel is not beam. So the game is just gonna have to deal with that fact, but we got through it. Also, UFO is not beam, much as many would like it to be otherwise. That is unfortunate. Luckily, we can get beam in a little bit here. Because it's also the essence at the end of the section. So we're just gonna run on through. Lament that we lost beam. Although, to be fair, our movement really isn't beam-centric. So this is more that we're just sad that we lost beam. I don't want to be kissed by the enemy, so we're going to avoid it. See? We don't have to worry about it. We got beam. Our dreams are realized yet again. Unfortunately, Master Hand isn't happy with us, so he brought a friend. See? Everyone is here. And by everyone is here, I mean, why am I getting punched? Okay, so Crazy Hand isn't happy about what we just did to their friend. We're fine. Everything is fine. Except for when it isn't. I know, right? Yeah, so, Kirby is so popular that they... Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that joke, so don't mind me. I'm just gonna run through this section with Beam and hope for the best, because I am not liking my health situation. Honestly, Master and Crazy Hand are kinda... I actually really like that they put that cameo in here. But also, something wild. I didn't know Smash was a Kirby Dane. Smash is totally a Kirby Dane. Ow! Okay, Beam to the next room. For the record, no, I've never had that enemy crush me. That's a new one. I swear, I know how to do this run. The enemies, on the other hand, have different plans, and those plans involve making sure I lose Beam. Anyways, this is Wiz. They think they're a wizard, but they don't know who they're in the presence of. It would help if I actually grab my ability back, because otherwise, for my dominance is the Beam Queen otherwise. Anyways, Wiz here is a lot like Painfuller, if you're familiar with older Kirby bosses, and if you aren't, it's not really important. Wiz just kind of does this. Pulls lots of things out of his hat. The only thing he can't pull out is a win. So, there's our mirror. Fully completed. Good to go. Let's get this done and over with. Actually, wait a minute. I forgot to get Beam. Much better. And you know, let's call the crew. Let's have a little party. Yay. Alright. Oh look, Yellow also got Beam. So, the Meta Knight we fought earlier was not actually Meta Knight. It was this guy. Basically, made Meta Knight from the Mirror World. And now it's kind of done. We'll see it in a few years. By the way, yeah, Meta Knight throws his sword. We have to grab this, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna grab it and promptly throw it in the trash. We don't need it. We have the visibility right here. And I hope Darkmine agrees. So this is Darkmine. Our strat is to use Beam. As you see, we don't need Meta Knight's grubby little sword. We don't need a double star. We just need Beam. That's it. Darkmine's still not the most pleasant of fights. We're gonna make sure we're topped off. There's Meta Knight's sword. We're gonna throw it back into trash. Sorry, Meta Knight. So this is Darkmine. Our strategy is to use Beam. And that was Darkmine 2. Now we're going to make our way down here. Nothing really important, but we're going to grab the 1-up because later phases are going to get kind of rough. And we want safety. We're going to throw Meta Knight sword in the trash again. This is Darkmine. Our strategy is to use Beam. As you see, Darkmine does not like Beam. Beam actually hits it quite a bit, and when it opens up, it takes lots of damage. So this is Darkmine 4. You know what we're gonna do here. I don't need to explain it now. It's had a few more tricks now. So it can be a little bit more dangerous, but honestly, it's not going to be too much worse than the other phases. It just takes more damage, really. It would also help if I jump over those attacks. We could be doing better. Step 1, use Beam. Step 2, do not use Beam. Instructions unclear, use Beam. So this is Darkmine 5. Our strategy is still to use Beam, but it's going to be a little bit rougher. This is why. You see that pixel that just went? Yeah, that Darkmine 5 has a lot of health and a lot of attacks. So the first part of this fight is going to be pretty slow. Because we only do one hit at a time. Unless we get hits from doing other things, like hitting these mirrors. These mirrors take a lot of damage. Darkmind's Eye, this giant thing that he's opening up every so often, does not. This is also the fight that I mentioned at the beginning of this run that Sniper said is really bad, and he is absolutely right. It is a rough fight, and I do not recommend it. However, if you start learning the pattern, you actually can do this pretty safely. You just have to not get hit. It's that simple. In fact, we're getting to the fun phase. So remember how I said these mirrors take a lot of damage? Yeah, that speeds up Beam a lot. By the way, it's about to do a bit attack, so... You see this laser? Yeah, that's gonna do 2 damage. So, I'm scared. I'm calling the crew. Unfortunately, I can't stop the crew from doing a few things. But I did need health, and that is what we called the crew for. More than likely, these other Kirbys will probably not live long. They're sadly not known for their, great abilities. And again, that laser does 2 damage. It's the only attack in the game that does more than 1 hit. Yes? Oh, there's Arcmine 5. So, I see we're gonna have a friend. Green is still here with us. And time will be coming up pretty soon here. We're gonna have Darkmine 6. Our strategy is to fire stars at it until it decides to be done with it. I'll be honest, I was kind of hoping for a damageless Darkmine 5. So I actually got that, last stream I got. That's fine. We have plenty of lives. This is no concern. So this is Darkmine 6. Our strategy is to fire stars at it, while they fire stars back at us. Time will be coming up when Darkmine's health is depleted. And that's time. So, yeah. By decree of the Beam Queen, we have gone through Kirby and the Amazing Mirror with just Beam. Except for the other Kirbys, which don't always listen, and sometimes use things that weren't Beam. But we kind of had no choice. I hope everybody enjoyed this. This has actually been a really fun run to kind of learn and kind of situate. And I'm pretty sure Sniper at some point is probably just looking at me like, why did you do this? So, let's see if we can let's see what score we can get. Well, that's not the number I wanted. But, yes, don't let your mains be dreams, let them be beams. I don't really have anything else to say at this point, so, yeah, thanks for watching, enjoy the rest of the marathon. It's honestly been great so far.